So we're out here today as part of the MSF Canada Walk Without Borders Challenge. I have a short letter to read you guys from someone who inspired us to be out here today. My name is Sarah. I am a Canadian MSF doctor working in rural Pakistan for my third mission with MSF. I want to thank you and your team for your outstanding fundraising for the MSF Walk Without Borders, and to let you know that those of us in the field are aware of your efforts and very thankful for them. The work at my current project is really demanding, but we provide a level of trauma care that is just not available in this region, and it saves lives. As a side project to the trauma, we also have a neonatal ICU. You can imagine that's a bit of a challenge to go from stabilizing a patient who's been shot in the abdomen to managing twins born at 30 weeks gestation, but somehow we managed to do it here. And we often do it simultaneously like we did with these two cases last night. What I've learned with MSF is that sometimes the impossible is possible, but it requires skill, luck, good equipment, great drugs, and well-trained local staff. I know that it isn't easy to fundraise in a university environment where everyone is strapped for cash, but you obviously came up with some solutions. In medical school, I asked our professors to each sponsor a case of beer for our match day, the day you had to match a specialty party, and raised over $2,000. Sometimes you have to be a little creative, but please know that your efforts are not in vain and the money raised will help to save lives. So on behalf of my colleagues, patients, and patient families, thank you so much. Good luck with the final 2 weeks of fundraising. Sarah. Patricia, tell us why you support MSF.
I support MSF because they're an amazing humanitarian organization, and all the work that they've been doing with the Ebola epidemic is really inspiring. We're not aware of it because it does not affect us directly here and now, but whenever there's an emergency all over the world, MSF is the first to be there. They're caring and they help everyone out, and they really make us want to be better people.
Donald, why is it that you support MSF?
Well, when I first learned about the MSF, it was about two of its principles in which it operates, and one of them was Tamanan, which means to bear witness. And for me, that is an important principle in the sense that you always stand up when there's a crime committed against humanities, when others are being treated unequally or unfairly, and without the proper access to the essential of life like water and as well as healthcare. And to me, I feel like to help MSF maintain this principle is important for people for them to raise from people instead of big corporations and governments, to free them from the political burdens that they may receive if they receive a loan from governments. So that's why personally I support MSF by fundraising for them as a grassroots organization.
Daniel, tell us why it is that you support MSF.
I support MSF because it's a group of good people doing good things, and we have to realize that even with the littlest help we give, the smallest help that we give, we make the biggest impact.
We're walking for a guy called David Boudet. David Boudet is a Médecins Sans Frontières clinical officer working in a remote health clinic in the village of Le Congolais near Pibor town in South Sudan. When fighting erupted in the village, David fled along with everybody else, leaving everything behind. As he says, we didn't have time to take any food or even clothes or medicine. David knew that if they stayed, they would be killed. It's estimated that more than 1 million people are displaced within South Sudan because of this ongoing violence. David and the villagers ran until they were deep in the bush where they could hide from the rebels and militia. But here in the thick grass and undergrowth there were other dangers: snakes, hyenas, even lions. The villagers were forced to contend with disease-carrying mosquitoes with nothing but dirty water to drink. With many villagers suffering from malnutrition, malaria, and diarrhea, David set up a clinic under a tree using a plastic sheet and tree branches. But he needed medicine. So David walked all the way to the MSF base in Pigor Town. With no roads or tracks, floodwater everywhere, David had to walk and swim for 2 whole days there and back with as much medicine as he could carry. Back at the makeshift clinic in the bush, David saw as many as 50 patients a day. As he says, "I kept working until the supply of medicines ran out. And when they did, he walked the treacherous distance to Pigor Town again. Thankfully, none of the patients David treated died, but because the area is so remote, it is hard to know how many people fell ill and couldn't make it to his makeshift clinic under a tree." Says David, "Our clinic was not perfect, but we saved lives." And it's because of people like David and the other people whose lives have been affected by MSF that we're out here walking today. So Shelby, why is it that you support MSF?
Well, I support MSF because I don't think anybody should have to suffer, and there are organizations like MSF that helps provide care because everybody deserves access to health care. And being a part of Friends of MSF at UNT gives us the opportunity to be a part of something that's so much bigger than ourselves and to support this amazing organization.
Steven, why do you support MSF?
Well, there's sort of a deep-seated respect for them, because when no one wants to take responsibility, MSF goes into these areas and takes sort of control of the situation. The thing that's important about MSF is in these regions where they're scoured by war or natural disasters, there's a real need for medical help because there's usually no medical infrastructure in these areas. And the thing about MSF is it's not medical tourism. There's actually a need, and they actually go in there and they help people.
How's the walk going, Gahagan?
Well, so far it has been pretty cold, and it was raining a little bit this morning. But it does give you a lot of time to reflect on yourself. I mean, why do I do this walk? This cold and hunger is just temporary. And that's what this walk really makes me think and realize so far. Yeah, and that's why it's important to support organizations like MSF.
So Dan, why do you support MSF?
I first learned about MSF almost a decade ago with the Indian Ocean tsunami, and I was overwhelmed by MSF's ability to respond before almost anybody else was in country. They were on the ground within a matter of a couple of days. And ever since then, I've been following the work that MSF does, and their sort of core principle and core action of just always being there because it's the right thing to do, for no reason other than people are suffering and they can respond and they can help. MSF is there, and it's that simple logic that appeals very strongly to me. So Nora, tell us why you support MSF.
I support MSF because no matter what the political situation in the country is, MSF is always there to neutralize the situation and help people regardless.
Thank you for walking with us today.
You can find the link to our team fundraising page below.
Please donate however much you can, but if you cannot, feel free to spread this video and spread the message.
And remember to attend our Ebola conference on Thursday, October 30th here at Hart House.